Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. Welcome back to the shop. My name is Mike Micron. Today we're working on some Buick 264 heads, and we're going to put in new valve guides, and then we're going to turn them over. We're going to put in hard seats for the exhaust, and then we're going to do a valve job. So let's get to it. As you can see, the heads have been thermal cleaned already. Got rid of all the old paint, dirt, grease, carbon, burned on oil, rust, and they look like brand new castings right now. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and take a chamfer tool and break these corners where we need to press the valve guides in. The shot blasting kind of puts a little burr on here, and we don't want that. We want it nice and clean so the valve guides will slide right in. So the first thing we're going to do is take our deburring tool, just a couple of revolutions, and it gets rid of that burr. And now we got a nice straight bore. The second thing we're going to do is take our nice bore brush here, a little bit of brake clean, and we're going to clean each one of these bores so there's no dirt or grit or anything left in there. And then those nice clean bores to press our valve guides into. All right. We're going to go ahead and dry these off a little bit of air. All right, now we're clean and dry. We'll get our valve guide driver. It's a specially made driver that fits in our zip gun, and we can begin. First thing we're going to do is get a guide. These are the same on both ends. As you can see, they're plain inside. There's no spiraling, so they really have no direction. And we're going to go ahead and get started. A little bit of WD-40 on each guide. A little spritz down the bores. And we're ready. We're going to go ahead and press these in. As you can see, they drive in really nicely. Now, before we took the old ones out, we measured the height, and we can go back to the same area, to the same exact height. We measured these at anywhere from 800 to 850. So we're going to split the difference and try to put them all in at about 825 thousandths. Well, that's not good. All right. This takes just a minute to do it correctly here. Make sure everything's the same height. Alright, here we are, 860, so a few more thousandths, and we're where we need to be. Alright, 830, and we're good. Next thing we're going to do is take our chamfering tool, just to make sure that there's no burr put on the top here by us driving these in, and just kind of give it a light twirl, make sure that there's no burr, because we want the valve to slide in nicely. Now we're going to do the other 8 of them, or the other 7. We've already done one. And then we can go on to the next head. Okay, we've already changed over our tooling. The next step is to set up our cutter to machine the face angle on the valve seat. And we usually do that, we always do that, by using this tool. And what we do is position this, the point of this, where we want it on the valve face. Usually that's toward the outer edge. Never want it on the corner, neither the inside or outside corner. The valve is going to grow or expand as it gets hot in a running condition. All the heat's going out through the exhaust valve. They run quite a bit hotter than the intake valve, so we position this accordingly, and we do it realizing that the valve is going to grow. Once that's set where we want it, we've already selected our cutter and installed it and set it. So we'll show you how we do that right here. We take this point and match it to the outer angle, the outer crotch on the cutter bit. And we get that set up, get it where we want it, and now we can cut seats. We're going to go ahead and set up here, get it locked in. Once again, this setup is similar to milling for the seat rings. We're going to go ahead and get in there and let the work head float. Give it a 6 count. And now we're in position. We've already double checked, everything is tight. So here we go. Now this carbide has the ability to cut 3 angles at once. It's going to cut the throat angle, which is at a 60, and as we proceed down, it's going to cut the face angle, which is 45, and as we get to where we want to be, it's going to cut a top angle of 30. Not sure if the camera can come in that close, but we've got our 60 on the throat, and we're getting our 45 right now. It's not complete yet, but it's in there. And then the next thing we want to do is just keep going till we just get our 30. Alright, we've hit the 30. Now what we'll do is, we got 2 things to do now. We need to confirm that the valve and the seat are where we want them to be. So we'll put a little bit of bluing on the valve, double check our dimension, double check our positioning here, and that's pretty easy to do. We put some bluing and we just take the valve and pop it a few times. As you can see, the blue on the seat is where the valve is going to contact the seat. Now we'll check our valve. And that's right where we want to be. It's pretty warm in here this morning. Sometimes this bluing squishes out a little bit as it gets hot. So we'll just double check that this way. And be doubly sure of where our contact is. Alright, that's where we want it to be. We're not on the edge, but we're close to it. As the valve expands with heat, It'll be right exactly where we want it to be. The next step, the next dimension that we're concerned with, is how deep the valve sits in the head. And that's really important on these, on this set of heads, because this has a non-adjustable rocker train. So we have a dimension where we need to be between two depths. Usually 30 to 60 thousandths is the window, and we recorded where the valves were before we started. We recorded the depth, so we know where we need to go back to. We know these heads were good running heads, so we're going to go back to that dimension, and we'll go on the lower side of it. That way, if the valves are going to seat in a little bit, we'll be right in the middle of that window. We got a little specialized tool here, and this is to read valve depth in the head. We've already recorded that dimension, and now we'll go back and double check, make sure that we are where we need to be. And we can do this for each valve as we go along. Okay, we need to go a little deeper here, and we kind of knew that we were going to have to, but we've got the valve, we got the seat position on the valve where it needs to be. Once we get some rough dimensions from our first seat here, we can go ahead and set our upper spindle indicator and have a much better idea where we're at. Okay, we're bottomed out, and our dimension that we're shooting for is 1.925 valve length into the head, and we're not even hitting 1/900 yet, so we're going to go ahead and go 30 as far as depth, and then that should let us read on the gauge, so we'll give it a try. Okay, now you can see we got a lot more of a 30 here on the top as we go deeper. Alright, we'll do the same thing we did before. Drop the valve. We know it's in a good position, and now we'll see then the depth. While we're doing this, we'll give it a little double check here. See where the intake is at. We shouldn't have to take too much off the intake because we didn't put seats in. So we'll just go ahead and see. Okay, that's right where we need it to be.